Hey everyone, it's James with geometricharts.com, September 5th, about 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got the 4-hour chart of Bitcoin, BTC USD on the Bitfinex exchange. So I talked on Monday's video. I even titled it that the bear claws were sharpening, and obviously we can see what happened today. Now, while there still may be like small little relief rallies, and there's definitely going to be them on the way down. I mean, nothing ever falls straight down. Nothing ever goes straight up. Obviously, there are wiggles. But again, the way I posed that video and the past prior videos is that I am short-term bearish and even kind of long-term bearish on Bitcoin right now until I figure out what happens as we start to drop. So if price starts to head downward, okay, and obviously it's not going to be a straight line like this down, but if we start to head back down and retest this area and start to break down and do not find little support, then I definitely think we're coming back down to test this 5100 area. If 5100 does not hold up, right, which is a long-term support level for Bitcoin, right around 5100, and it's not 5100 exact, but right around there, right? $100 plus or minus is nothing, not a big deal in Bitcoin. But the point is that if that area does not hold up, I do think we could easily see Bitcoin at the low 4,000 range, like I talked about in my prior video. So the big question is what is going to occur now? And will Bitcoin, there's a couple things that could change the analysis. If this turns into just a corrective move and all of a sudden we start trekking higher, okay, and all of a sudden boom, 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 we're moving up and we get above 8,400, that to me is the beginning of a trend change. However, if not, and we continue downward, like I believe, like the volume shows, like everything on the chart shows, then I think we have further to fall. The big thing is, do we hold this zone? And if we do not, I definitely believe that it's going to reset everything I've been talking about, Bitcoin creating a base and potentially creating a trend-changing rally, meaning a bull rally from that level going up to about the 20,000 mark and maybe and eventually higher. If that can happen, if we can base out long enough, and I think it's easily going to take the rest of this year, probably into next year, and then from there start to trek higher. However, if we take out this 5,800 area, 5,750 I think is the ultimate low. If we take that area out, drop into the 5, even if we drop into the low 5s and hold the low 5s, I'm still going to remain bearish on Bitcoin. I just cannot help it. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't mean there's not long trades to play here in this market. There obviously are. But it's going to be a very, very tough road ahead of Bitcoin. And if the 5,100 area gives out and we all of a sudden trekking down into the 4s, that completely changes that base theory into Bitcoin trying to find a bottom and then trying to figure out where that is, base at whatever level that is, and then change the trend. So those are the avenues obviously we can go down. You know, like obviously I kind of laid it all out there, but I definitely believe we're heading down. And I've said that on my prior videos. I definitely believe we're heading down. The volume, everything that was coming in was going out. The only time I've seen a major change in volume was during this drop. That's it. That's the same thing that happened back in here. All of a sudden, volume started spiking as we were dropping. And guess what? We continued to drop. Boom, 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 boom. One of the most horrific vertical drops in Bitcoin since the 20,000 top, where we started to violently whip up and down. But this drop was significantly more violent, right? Not as in the distance that it traveled in price. Like obviously these were longer runs to the downside, but the vertical nature and the relentless beating of the market was something that we've not seen since those violent whips near that 20,000 top, or at least on the backside of that 20,000 top. So if this selling pressure picks up the same way and picks up that same steam, and all of a sudden we start heading back down, smashing through this area with this violent price action to the downside, then I have to assume we are going to hit the 4,000s in Bitcoin. And obviously, that negates a lot of analysis out there. And one of the biggest red flags I think we have is just how bullish this market is. So like I said, I've done it for over I've been trading for over a decade now. Did it professionally. I left, run my own company now, and I've been out of that entire industry. But I've never seen in a decade ever that a market fall with the way that Bitcoin has, and so many people still remain so bullish, but it's bullish to a level to where it's guaranteed. And I know I say that a lot, but people literally act as if this is guaranteed to make them tons of money. It does not mean that the market is going to disappear. I don't think that's going to happen. There's too much money in this market, in the market in general, in a whole. But it just baffles me that there's still this extreme sentiment, and I've never seen that before. And I think this market has not yet endured what is called a bloodbath phase that makes it to where no one, even our friends at the mainstream media, hype price up and talk about this. Like, there will no longer be John McAfee's or Tom Lee's or those crazy wild maniacs you see on social media that are just hyping up figures that I have no idea where they even come up with these numbers. And you won't see that. That'll just disappear, because anyone who starts to talk bullish about this market at that point during a bloodbath phase is typically ridiculed as they're freaking crazy. And we have yet to see that in this market. The only person that was ever deemed crazy was John McAfee because of his projection plus his bet. And, that literally was the craziest thing to ever really hit this market. There's insane projections out there, but again, I've just never ever seen this happen. So I do think that we do have further downside. The question is, are we going to base out at 5,800 and hold that area? If we do, I look at this as a gigantic rounded bottom formation in this market that could lead to a base going into the end of this year, maybe next year, that will lead to a trend change, trekking back up into the future, potentially retesting 20,000 and even higher in Bitcoin. So that's currently what I would look for at that level. But again, if we break through that area, that completely changes my analysis and makes it even more of a bearish scenario than anything. So yes, there will always be wiggles no matter which market you're in, bear or bull. And it doesn't mean that that I am going to remain bearish. I know a lot of these videos are bearish, but that is just the unfortunate reality of where this market's at, right? And I'm one of the few people that I think talks about this market in the way that I do, at least from what I've seen that my subs have said, or the same thing on the comments on the YouTube videos. I think I am probably the #1 bear, you could call, quote unquote. And it's not that I'm happy about it. I'm not happy about anyone losing their money and watching this market deteriorate. Obviously, I think there's going to be more money for everyone to make from the long side, so I'd rather see a bull market than a bear market. But I think there are some major things that need to occur before we really start to see this thing turn around. So we either hold the base or experience a bloodbath phase that no one could anticipate. I'm not even going to throw a number out there, but if it happens, there will be a gigantic puke event, and no one's going to come out and be bullish on Bitcoin. I might be the only person that turns around and starts to get bullish, depending on what happens, obviously. But that's what I would look for. I look for a complete sentiment change across the board, and you do not see that in this market. Instead, I have people ridiculing me for the way I talk about this market. I see articles and just posts on social media and etc. of guaranteed money. Put everything you have into it. You're guaranteed to become, mega rich, and just never seen anything like it. So, anyways, that's it for the analysis. I think I covered everything I possibly could. I've put a few more lines just to kind of visualize the whole slope of this price action. It's obviously under intense selling pressure. But I will produce another video on Friday. Again, I do think the trend is definitely downward. This is not investment advice. These videos are not for that. But again, I'm just going to stick to my guns and remain bearish short term, okay, and long term bearish if we bust and smash out 5750, 5800. So I hope everybody has a great day, great night, depending on where you are in the world. If you do like the video, please like, comment, subscribe, follow. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your support. If you're interested in the subscriber side where I talk about Bitcoin more in depth, I talk to it morning and night every single day for Bitcoin, a lot of other alts as well, like Litecoin, Ethereum, EOS, NEO, XRP, ADA, IOTA, Bitcoin Cash, just to name a few. And then sometimes people will ask me about other ones, but those are pretty much the ones I cover. And then I also cover the stock market, commodities, and Forex. So you can learn more about that at my site, geometriccharts.com. There's no contracts, there's nothing. I'm not hounding you if you cancel or anything like that. Honestly, a lot of people who have joined have stayed. I'm not trying to boast it up, but obviously the effort I put into it is definitely worth the small fee that's $25 a month. But anyways, I'm not here to give you a sales pitch. I just tell you about the subscriber side because people do ask where I should buy or where I should sell or about specific price levels and etc. And that's not what these videos are for. I try to keep it as generic as possible. I talk about the more macro picture of what's happening. And if you go back through my videos, a lot of them have come true. I think I'm definitely one of the main bears out there in Bitcoin, and it's really hard. A lot of people are looking to the sky, looking to the moon, and I'm looking down at the floor saying, this just it just doesn't look like it's ready to rock and roll. If we see some mega volume and we see some big changes like above this 8,000 level, that changes it all. But other than that, I got to remain bearish. So that's it. Have a great day. Have a great night. Please like the video if you do like it, and I'll produce another one on Friday.